Okay, so this week's episode of My Hero Academia, that is season 3, episode 3. We got some really interesting things going on. We have the students training their quirks, class 1B arriving at the camp. We also have, once again, some really interesting things with Kota and Deku, because obviously last episode we learned that Kota had a very tragic backstory. His parents were killed in the line of duty a few years back, and obviously ever since then he's kind of had this resentment towards the hero society as a whole. Not really as heroes, it's more to do with quirks, the whole system that the world is now based on, having quirks and a hero society that protects them. Kota doesn't really like that because of the fact that his parents were killed in the line of duty. Deku wants to do his best trying to improve the situation with Kota because he doesn't really like to see a little boy this upset about something like that, I guess, especially since Deku, he aims to be a great hero. He wants people to love him. He wants to rescue people. Everyone who wants to be a hero, they probably don't want to see someone like Kota who has a very negative view on heroes, and if they do, they want to find out why is it that they're looking the way they are on the hero society, and how do I fix it? Can I actually do something that will make him change his mind? So he doesn't really hate Kota because of the fact, obviously that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying he wants to find out if there's something he can do as a hero, of course, to make Kota look on the hero society in a brighter way, rather than having this really anti-personality towards it. The biggest part of this episode was, of course, devoted to the whole thing with the training of quirks. We see how they're like cooking their own meals and stuff. We see Bakugo going crazy on the cutting of the vegetables, not something you see every day. Even Ochako, she points out that, you're pretty good at this. And Bakugo, he just brushes it off like, you know what, who the fuck can cut some vegetables, man? It's child's play. So obviously this episode, I would say it works more as a build-up to what's about to go down, especially given what we had at the very end of the episode when all of the villains did appear, which I'm looking forward to, honestly. Like, I really hope we get to see some good stuff going down between the villains and the students. Now, obviously I've read the manga, I know the plot of this arc, but sometimes the anime expands on certain things that we perhaps didn't expect to see, and I really hope we get to see something along those lines. I really do hope they expand on some of the fights maybe, and maybe some of the interactions as a whole between certain characters. That's something that I would really like seeing, especially if it's done right and not in a filler sense. I don't really think they will, because knowing Studio Bones and My Hero Academia, they've done a really good job so far with the animation and following the source material, so I really don't expect there to be that many flaws, especially the storyboard of the anime. I think it's gonna follow the manga more or less in a straight line, apart from obviously expanding on things that did happen in the manga but maybe weren't as thorough as they could have been. Like, certain fights may have needed some more depth, and maybe the anime can fix that by actually extending that fight in whatever way. I really hope we get to see something like that. That'd be really sweet, actually. And obviously now we got to see Dabi's fire for the first time in the anime being blue. Obviously this is something that we learned from the PV trailer, that his fire was blue, but before that people didn't really know what color his fire were gonna be, because in the manga it was never confirmed what color that Dabi's flames were. It was said that they were a dark tinted flame, but not exactly what color. And the fact that it was described as a dark tint and it ended up being like this light bluish color made a lot of people have different opinions about it, because some people expected the flames to be black or purplish, some expected them to be, normal fire, I guess, but at the same time no one really knew exactly what color they were gonna be. And when it was then revealed that, they were gonna be light blue, some people liked it, especially given how there are certain theories going around. There's this one theory going around that Dabi and Todoroki are brothers. There's nothing really concrete saying they are brothers. It's just a theory, but obviously that theory was kind of strengthened by the fact that Dabi had the same blue flames as Endeavor. But again, it's nothing concrete, so I'm not really gonna go into that because, well, this ain't a theory, this is a review, man. We also get to see some of the other villains, which I don't think I can reveal all of the names because I don't think they've been mentioned yet, but we got to see this quirk used on Pixie Bomb, when he was pulling her towards him. And so this episode really kicked us straight into the action at the very end. It's not really a slow build-up from a peaceful setting to a fight with the villains. It's very much the villains just comes in, crash the party, suddenly there's a fight. That's pretty much what's happening, and that's kind of what you should expect from a villain attack when it's not really an attack that you expect to go down, because obviously the students, or rather the teachers should we say, like Aizawa, Blood King, they were under the impression that the villains could not possibly know where they were That's the whole reason they kept this location a secret, because they didn't want the villains to really know where they were going, and they didn't want to bring All Might, for instance, because they thought All Might would be a target. But as it turns out, they're not really after All Might, are they? Because in that case, they wouldn't be at this camp, then they would be going closer to the UA Academy, if anything. So they're obviously after something else. I know what they're after, I'm not really gonna mention it, but you know what? You're just gonna have to wait and see. It's something great, I promise you, and it's gonna give some mixed opinions eventually, but that's just the fun of it, isn't it? Last thing that I want to talk about is Ragdoll, which is one of the Pussycats, and I'm not really gonna be giving you too much on her because, well, obviously we don't know much about her. We know her quirk, we know her name, that's about it. Her quirk is Search and her name is Ragdoll, that's about it. And what I want to mention is, like, have you seen how psychotic she looks? Like, she looks ready to kill some people. Like, if you met Ragdoll in an alley in the dark, you would not feel safe. I'm telling you, she would try to kill you. Like, I know she's not a villain, but just looking at her, she would try to murder you, man. She looks crazier than Toga, for crying out loud, and Toga is supposed to be the crazy one. I would rather see Toga in an alleyway than Ragdoll, and even though I know Toga's more likely to kill me, just knowing that Ragdoll looks like that. Nah, man. Nah. Well guys, anyway, I'm gonna end my review here because honestly, I just can't think of anything else to talk about when it comes to this episode. I'm pretty sure next episode I am going to have a lot more to talk about because that's when things are gonna go down. So yeah, let me know what you think down below in the comments about the episode. Do you think they were doing things well? Like, if you read the manga, do you think they adapted things the way they should have, or did they miss something? You know, let me know. And as always, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't already. This has been Chaotic Plus, and remember everyone, Toga is waifu, Toga is laifu.